They told us Anthony Richardson was the future, a once-in-a-generation type of athlete.
This is just dumb. Jump in the air, ball fake, get two people to bite for it, and then still make that throw.
The 4.44 at 244 pounds.
Impressive. Oh my goodness. Wow. It is full Moses Malone. 4.44.
He was supposed to be the 6'4", 240-plus pound freak athlete that changed the Colts franchise. But from day one with the Colts, things never really went as planned. Some people will tell you they seen this coming from a mile away, and others will tell you they never thought he would be a bust. This is the downfall of Anthony Richardson and how he went from one of the best QBs in America to an NFL bust. Anthony Richardson grew up in Gainesville, Florida, where he attended Eastside High School, and almost everybody knew he was a ridiculous athlete. As a 14-year-old freshman, he already stood out physically, being 6'4", 200 pounds, and all of his coaches and teammates knew he was different. He didn't just play football though, he also excelled on the basketball court, showing off elite athleticism. You can see him on tape doing things from dunking on guys, getting the most athletic blocks, and the most ridiculous steals. And that athleticism definitely translated to the football field, because as a 14-year-old freshman, he already possessed the ability to throw 60 to 70 yards down the field. By the end of his freshman season, he threw for 434 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, but had 4 interceptions. He also rushed for 133 yards and 5 touchdowns. Those are decent stats for a freshman. Of course, there's room for improvement, but I mean, he's only a freshman. And I think it's safe to say he made those improvements, because in a combination of his sophomore and junior year, he threw for 2,600 plus yards, 27 touchdowns, and also rushed for 29. He did throw a combination of 16 interceptions, but that was pretty much overlooked because he was that physical specimen that couldn't be replaced. By the time he got to his senior season, he was featured on the Netflix series QB1 Beyond the Lights, alongside other young quarterbacks like Bryce Young and Deuce Hogan. And on here, you could see the ups and downs of his senior campaign, from having a really good season on a pretty bad team to being injured and missing the rest of the season. Even through all of that, he was still the #1 quarterback recruit in Florida. Even being the #1 quarterback in his state, you could tell there were a lot of things he had to work on, especially when it came to his throwing mechanics. All in all, Anthony Richardson decided to keep it at home and later committed to the University of Florida. When he got to Florida as a big-time recruit with enormous physical tools, flashes of brilliance made fans believe they had the next great Gators quarterback, even though he wasn't even a starter yet. In limited action early in his college career, Richardson showed off jaw-dropping plays and flashes, with 80-yard touchdown runs, deep bombs thrown effortlessly off platform, and highlight reel moments that went viral instantly. In an early game against USF as a redshirt freshman coming off the bench, he showed off a lot of that talent. He went 3 for 3, threw for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 4 carries, rushed for 115 yards and a touchdown. And at this point, I think all coaches and fans knew they had a young star in the making. As the season went on, he continued to show flashes of his elite athleticism. Then the game that established Anthony Richardson as a star in the making finally came. Florida versus LSU. This was a huge conference showdown, and Florida started off very slow. And by the end of the third quarter, they were down 13-28, and you could say their starting quarterback Emory Jones was having a pretty bad game. That's when redshirt freshman Anthony Richardson stepped in the game, and this happened.
Longest running play of the day, 9 yards. It was a wide open man. Pierce out of the backfield, and Pierce down near the 20. Richardson quick set and a bullet. Boy, you can see the quarterback draw. Richardson into the end zone with a Gators touchdown. Penalized at all today. You have a wide open receiver again, Jacob Copeland. After the run fake, it's a touchdown. Beautiful throw again by Richardson. Right on the money to Dameon Pierce.
Despite the loss, he went into that game and showed who the real QB1 should be. He wasn't perfect, but he earned trust from the coaches and showed them that if you put me in the game, I will ball out. This gave him so much momentum going into the 2022 season, where he was officially named the starting quarterback. And by the first game, he made it very evident that he is one of the most gifted quarterbacks in the country.
This is just dumb. jump in the air, ball fake, get two people to bite for it, and then still make that throw.
First and goal. Keeper, Richardson into the end zone. There's the Gator touchdown. Now he'll take off and run. The whole left side of the field, wide open for Richardson. Touchdown!
He really set the tone and put the country on notice with that performance. Throughout the season, everybody knew he was a physically gifted freak athlete of a quarterback, but with that came a lot of inconsistencies. People were really starting to question his ability to throw the ball and his inaccuracy at times. It would literally be him having a really good game, and then the next, he would throw 11 straight incompletions. He was very inconsistent. But the one-in-a-generation physical tools and ridiculous athleticism was too much to pass on. And by the time the combine came, he was a projected first rounder, but nobody expected this combine performance.
He is running a 40-yard dash, and oh my goodness.
Wow.
4-4-4. 10-9. Oh my goodness gracious. That's a quarterback. See it.
Oh my gosh.
His performance at the combine skyrocketed his draft stock, and he went from just a potential first-round pick to a potential top 5 pick. People never seen the level of athleticism that he brought to the combine, breaking all-time quarterback records in both the vertical and broad jump. Even with this performance, there were still big questions leading up to the draft. Like his mechanics and accuracy, he had a 53% completion percentage, which was a huge red flag, especially for a first-round QB. He also had very little experience compared to other quarterbacks with only 13 career starts, which was tied for the fewest starts by a first-round quarterback since 2000. The red flags were definitely there. The only real question was, were these NFL teams willing to risk ignoring these red flags for a generational freak athlete of a quarterback?
Oh, he's pretty raw. He's games, Mike, where I would tell people and go, man, this Richardson kid, I was telling people earlier this year in college football, wow, right? And then a few people would watch a game, I can't remember what it was earlier, and he didn't play well, and the ball was all over the place, and they go, oh, man, you like that guy? You know, so there's going to be some games that are wow and some games that are but, you know, it's the potential of the player that I think excites you and me and everybody else that's watching football.
Then he had one last workout at his pro day to show that he was potentially the best QB in the draft and that he had the best arm, and he did this.
Were able to get when they were in college.
Okay, there you put him away.
Oh,
yeah, we knew that was coming.
Dikembe Mutombo at the roof.
Oh, no, sir. Look at him having fun with that one.
Playing foosball.
But you can
He did everything scouts wanted him to do, showing off the potential of his arm talent and how strong of an arm he actually has. Even doing something as funny as throwing the ball as hard as he can and hitting the roof made NFL teams fall in love, and that was the cherry on top. At this point, teams knew Anthony Richardson was a project, but they were willing to risk it all to draft him. And on draft night, he was officially drafted by the Indianapolis Colts with the number 4 overall pick. The Colts decided to take a risk on a QB that was either going to completely change their franchise or become an absolute bust. And from day one, it looked like the hype wasn't just hype. He showed off his elite athleticism, poise, and great work ethic for a rookie. Of course, he had his quote-unquote rookie struggles, but coaches and fans looked past that until his first real game. And when that first game came, he showed everybody that he might actually be the future of that Colts franchise.
Youngest quarterback to ever start an NFL game. And here's Richardson inside the 40, down to the 35, and finally tackled by Foye.
Run the ball here on 3rd down.
Here's Richardson. He takes it in for his first NFL touchdown. Empty backfield, 2nd and 9. Pass over the middle, caught. Taken inside the 15, and down.
Mo Alley-Cox, excuse me. Let you know what ability Anthony Richardson has.
On 2nd down, wide open, and a couple of flags.
Despite the loss, Richardson had a pretty good performance, especially for a rookie debut. He was the first rookie in NFL history to record over 200 passing yards, 40+ rushing yards, a passing touchdown, and a rushing touchdown in their first game. And of course, he gave a lot of fans hope, thinking they finally had their future franchise QB. Little did they know, it was just the beginning and the worst was yet to come. As the season went on, it looked like he was having a pretty promising rookie season. But unfortunately, all of that came to a streaking halt when in a Week 5 game against the Titans, he suffered a season-ending shoulder injury. And this injury was just unfortunate because he was definitely a heavy candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But he had to put this injury behind him and get ready for a bigger, better 2024 season, or at least that's what people thought he was gonna do. Coming into 2024, expectations for Anthony Richardson were sky high, but in his first few games, he struggled bad. He had a 47% completion percentage, which was easily one of the lowest in the NFL. He was just all in all making terrible decisions and looked like he couldn't read a defense at all, and fans were already calling him a bust. As the struggles continued, already having 6 interceptions and one of the lowest completion percentages in the league, things got to an all-time low, and by the middle of the season, he was being benched for 39-year-old Joe Flacco. He was doing the most ridiculous things, like tapping himself out of the game and saying he was tired.
Whenever you're tapping out, whenever you're healthy, what message are you sending to everybody in the building, everybody in the locker room, the entire city, the fan base? And I think what it does is it makes people think, like, get this guy the f off of our team. Yeah. You're a professional athlete, okay? You're 22 years old. This is the middle of the season.
And by the end of the 2024 season, I think it's safe to say the Colts were starting to give up on him. Just imagine a couple years later, your 4th overall pick is statistically one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Things were not going good for Anthony Richardson at all, and going into the 2025 season, not only did he lose his job to Daniel Jones, but he was injured in the preseason before he could even show he wasn't a bust. At this point, I think it's safe to say the Colts have officially gave up on him. Some people wouldn't call him a bust, but you have to keep in mind this was a first round top 5 pick quarterback with all the physical tools and upside to be an elite franchise QB. But things never really worked out for Anthony Richardson, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for him, whether that is being traded or if the Colts give him another chance.